None can contend with the supreme power of the almighty Raiden Shogun and the Muso no Hitotachi!
Yeah, he doesn't worship.
None can contend with the supreme power of the almighty Raiden Shogun and the Muso no Hitotachi!
Yeah.
I challenge you to a duel before the throne!
Proceed. My, you're full of surprises today. So you've learned to make the law of the land work for you too, I'll admit that I never expected to be in a situation where the two of us were on equal footing. You are aware that the loser must die. Are you sure this is what you want?
Traveler!
Then I will deign to share this last dance with you.
Sorry. That shocked expression on your face is just too amusing. I couldn't help myself.
You are not Farina. Who are you?
Who are these people at the tea party? Why, they are my loyal followers, of course. All right, I suppose I'll introduce them to you. This is Mademoiselle Crabaletta, my most adorable maid, although she accidentally cuts my outfits from time to time. This is Surintendant Cheval Moran, my reliable housekeeper who keeps my busy life in order. And finally, the one keeping everybody in line is Gentilhomme Usher, my loyal conferencier. I may have allowed you to participate in my tea party, but you'll still need to work hard to gain their approval. Too ordinary! Such an uninspired dish will never have my approval. I really like the Lumitoile. Those creatures can glow and shine in even places where no one sees them. That's what I call a true star. If only there were an opera about the Lumitoile. Take it. Go. I still couldn't do it. Don't look at me like this. How dare you! Stop that! Let the world come alive! Let the world come alive! Let the world come alive! Time to shine! Let my name echo in song! May I I present... How brilliant! The show begins! Yoo-hoo! Strike a pose! Shower me with praise! My story has already come to an end, and so the next act shall be about our story. In which case, we should probably start charging double for public appearances. I am so happy! Yes!
A blade embraces its duty, as a jeweler cherishes their gems.
You took your time.
Sorry, I bumped into the Traveler and Charlotte en route, and we ended up chatting for a while.
It's been a while, Annette. We're working as Lenny's temporary assistants in the investigation of the...
Thank you. It's good to have you helping.
So, what's the situation?
Nope. I've been here a while, and she's...
How bizarre. Well, we won't get anywhere.
A lot of people here today, huh?
Same thoughts here.
Excuse...
Gemma? You mean Caesar's fiancé?
I'm just trying to get a hold of...
Yeah, she does. Ever since Caesar passed away, she's been coming here once. I asked her what she was doing once. She said she wanted to speak. She knows he's gone and can't hear her from the grave, but...
And she's been doing this ever since Caesar passed away?
I'll bet. Caesar's reputation... I don't know if the mind lives on in the waters after death, but if I'm honest, I think this is all... Anyway, all of... Well, that's everything I know, I'm afraid.
All right, well, thanks for sharing all...
You're welcome.
Did you hear the news? They're saying the Phantom Weasel's back.
You're kidding.
I don't know anymore. But what if? Just hypothetically, I'm...
Called it.
Oh, please.
Wait, did I say that? I don't seem to recall.
Hello there. Sorry for disturbing. We're actually quite interested in this topic as...
You've come to the right people. He was a great... I was right up close and didn't
I saw him perform too. He always... Sometimes...
Huh. He doesn't...
But after he died, there were also rumors that he used the wish list to find... As I'm sure you know.
Whatever the case, now that the weasel is back, I bet Gemma must be pleased. Oh, speak of the devil. That's her over there. If you've got any more questions about Caesar, she's definitely the one to ask.
So that's Gemma. Wait. It looks... Hi there. You're...
Who's asking?
Don't be afraid, we mean no harm. It looks like you're injured. How bad is it?
Thanks for your concern. But you didn't...
My name is Linny, and this is...
My name's Paimon.
The Weasel posted a warning letter this morning. You knew Caesar better than anyone else. I promise you can trust us. Huh. I suspected as much. Okay, so going back 10 years, do you remember anything strange in the weeks leading up to the accident? Did Caesar have a falling out with anyone, for instance?
No, not that I know of.
Got it. All right, sorry for disturbing you.
If you don't have any more questions, please leave. I want to be alone with him.
Judging by the look on her face, there's definitely something fishy about her.
She's lying. She definitely knows something.
That's fair. We're just a bunch of strangers who showed up and started questioning her about things that happened a whole decade ago. It makes sense that she'd be wary around us. In any case, I doubt we'll get any further here, so let's call it a day. Meet me outside Hotel de Boer tomorrow, and then we'll start the next step of our plan.
General. All right. Maybe I'll take one more day off and knock out the rest of the work once.
Yeah.
Over here.
Lynette's not joining us today?
I've had her follow Gemma and see if we can make any inroads. Still, today we'll be looking into a guy. When Caesar passed away, all the stolen goods discovered in his home were confiscated and returned to their rightful owners. Before long, I had to pull a lot of strings.
Art is the key ingredient in fine dining. Art is the key ingredient in fine dining.
You neglected to mention that you were
My apologies. These two are my...
Oh, forget the pleasantries. Just sit.
Get a load of this guy. Forget the pleasantries, he says, but he looks pretty happy about Lenny stroking his ego.
I only agreed to meet since we're both magicians. Do me a favor and cut to the chase. I have more important things to do than drinking.
Much obliged, sir. As it happens, the matter yesterday morning, a warning letter from... I have to get to the bottom of this to ensure that my show can go ahead as planned.
What is there to investigate? Caesar was the weasel and he's been dead for 10 years. So what if...
Please, sir, no need to get so...
Possibility, the weasel is dead. Period. Everyone knows that, so...
Oh, sir, I'm honored. My pride as a magician...
Your pride?
I want to find out the Phantom Weasel's...
What would that accomplish? And what do the events of 10 years ago have to do...
Uh-oh. This is getting...
Renzo? Is that? Oh, it is you! I know that big, booming voice anywhere. What's up, my man?
Another day.
Oh, come on. You can't be all business, all.
If I wanted your life...
Sorry, my good sir. I don't believe I've...
Oh, hey! Edmondo. He and I are business pals. We worked together a bunch of times. This is your first time meeting him? Oh, he's always like this. Foul-mouthed and hard-nosed. Never heard a kind word out of this guy the whole time I've... and he wonders why he can't get a girlfriend, despite being, what, pushing 40, 30, something? Anyway, point is, a lot...
Shut up and get out of my face. Another word out...
Sorry, I may have had a little...
I think it's high time I made a move as well. If you really want to investigate this, Lenny, be my guest. But if nothing good comes of it, don't say I didn't warn you.
Well, that fell to pieces in a rather spectacular fashion. Any thoughts? You okay there?
Who are... Oh, it's you guys. Don't worry about me. I must have had one too. I say way too much.
So, he was serious about threatening to cut you off? Ugh, Paimon...
Hey! Don't go prime.
What kind?
Don't even ask. And take it. That's not a good sign.
And there he goes.
Shh. I think we're being watched. Someone was listening. Don't say anything and don't look back.
Time to go.
Ad Ast. Thank you for
You followed us a long way. Why don't you come out and introduce yourselves?
So you're Lenny. And where's your sister? Ain't she with you? Save us the trouble and go fetch her for us. Let's not drag this out.
Paimon doesn't like the tone of your voice, mister! Who sent you?
Save your questions, missy. You ain't gonna need it.
Looks like we can't have... Now, I'm not the strongest fighter.
Don't worry,
Busted. Things are about to get dicey.
Now disappear!
Curses. They're tougher than we thought.
Vision wielders.
Come on, let's scram!
Hey, wise guys! We ain't Oh, they got away! Did you catch what they said? Sounds like they just wanted to rough us up as a scare tactic. You're right. Maybe she was too scared to tell...
Well, if that's the case, she should be more willing to open up. Let's head back to the cafe and see if we can get a...
Gemma?
You again.
We just ran into the men who've been threatening you, and so you can relax now.
What? Why?
Sounds...
That's putting it mildly. It's been 10 long years. How do I know I can trust you? Do you...
I'm afraid I can't reveal all the details just yet, but because you see, this is a personal matter of the utmost importance.
Okay.
I've heard that Caesar used to have a match. Do you know where it...
The Fleuve Sonde. I also know that the Fleuve Sonde...
Understood. Lynette, you stay...
Got it. But if I'm staying...
I mean, bon...
Okay. All right.
If Gemma gave us the right location, then the workshop should be right nearby. Huh. Looks like these boxes are... There we go. Hip.
So this was Caesar's workshop. Nothing suspicious here, just normal magic props. What? What was that? Oh, is this one of Caesar's gadgets? Guess we must have triggered some sort of device.
And voila! Gotcha!
Busted. Take flight.
Whoa. Look. The doll in the box is glowing. There's something written on the card on this doll. Let's take a closer look. Looks like we've reached the end of this route. Shall we try a different one? These magic boxes are moving. What do we do?
One of them looks different from the rest. Let's investigate.
That's weird. Have we reached the end already? There's nothing here. Maybe this was a wasted trip.
This place seems a little too... We've triggered quite a few devices on the way here. If so, then there must be more to this place than meets the eye. Maybe, Aha! If I just move this book, then...
A secret passage!
I'm a magician too, and apparently great minds really do think... Looks pretty big inside. Let's head in and take a look around.
Gotcha! Game's up! Fun's over!
Now disappear! Huh.
Quietly now.
Time to go. It's fine.
Busted. Here comes the catch. Yeah! Whirling snow!
Wind Strider! Step right up. Let's get this show on the road.
Quietly now.
Why have you stopped, Lenny?
Huh. It just looks familiar somehow. Let me check this out for a second while you guys... If anyone makes a major...
All right, see you in a bit. take a peek inside?
At one of my shows as a joke, so I told them another white lie. The machine needs time to... I wound up saving very little this month. 2 children came to talk to me after today's show. Anyway, they said that they wanted me to teach them how to do magic. I told them that learning magic... It seems like something's bothering Lorenzo lately, but he won't open up to me about it. Surely he's not upset that I have a good feeling. They have all sorts of fantastic ideas. They wanted to call me Master, but I told them with time, I have no... Gemma thinks so too. She doesn't like being around them. Says that they're... It's nearly time for me to go on to... I once overheard them talking about their father. It's only been 10 days. They're very tough, but also very cautious. And they hide things from me too. For example, that's the thing about children. Whenever they're I can sense that their lives have been hard. Possibly even after thinking things over. I decided to tell them a bit about how I see the world. It's full of lies and falsehoods. And that is why we must find our own truth. P.S. I hope they won't find my nagging annoying. Children are so opinionated nowadays. Will it do them more harm than good for someone they've only... P.P.S. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Children aren't interested in grand philosophies. It probably just went in one ear and out the other. I bet they've already forgotten every word I said. Oh, Caesar, Caesar. At one of my shows a few days ago, a child asked me how I pulled candy out of my hat. As a joke, I told the kid that the hat has a built-in wish-granting machine. Next thing I know, today a whole bunch of kids were pestering me to pull all sorts of things out of the hat. So I told them another white lie. The machine needs time to power up, but in the meantime, you can write your wishes down. Well, they took me up on that offer, enthusiastically. As I write this, I've only just got back from running around all over town, buying the things they wanted. Boy, are my legs sore. I wound up saving very little this month, but that's not a major issue. I now have a bigger problem. At one of my shows a few days ago, a child asked me how I pulled candy out of my hat. As a joke, I told the kid that the hat has a built-in wish-granting machine. Next thing I know, today a whole bunch of kids were pestering me to pull... So I told them another white lie. The machine needs time to power up, but in the meantime, you can write your wishes down. Well, they took me up on that offer, enthusiastically. As I write this, I wound up saving very little this month, but that's not a major issue. At one of my shows a few days ago, a child asked me how I pulled candy out of my hat. As a joke, I told them I wound up saving... At one of my shows a few... As a joke, I told the kid that the hat has a... So I told them another white lie. The machine needs time to power up, but in the meantime, you can write your wishes down. Well, they took me up on that offer. Enthusiastic. I wound up saving very little. At one of my shows, as a joke, so I wound up...
Too magic geniuses with a father and a mission, huh? Sounds a lot like he was writing about Linny and Lynette, don't you think? So did they meet?
Take it easy.
Shh, hold that thought. As I expected, there's a lot of fishy things going on in this place.
Fishy?
All in good time. Before we go over our new leads, first, the magician slots themselves into a magic box in full view of the audience. The box is then suspended high in the air, and a short while later, the base automatically opens. At this point, a dummy will fall out of the box, but it looks real enough to grab the audience's attention. Meanwhile, the real magician, who has by now blended into the crowd, waits for a good moment to make their appearance and put on a hysterical performance. Oh no!
Very vivid description. Paimon can really picture it. And then what?
The audience's gaze then turns to the magician, and by the time they realize what's happened, the dummy has vanished. Of course, that's just how I think the process should work, theoretically speaking. The inventor of this trick never performed it successfully. When the box opened, he fell right to the ground from the highest point of the opera house. No one could hope to survive that fall, not without a vision at least. And no one else has ever attempted this trick since. My understanding of how it works is just based on what it could get.
So Caesar's famous high-altitude escape has never been done, huh? Paimon was about to say how cool it would have... Wait a second. So if a dummy's...
Glad you asked. That brings us to the secret of said box. This box right here is the one that Caesar constructed himself to use in the performance, and it's not as simple as it. Once the magician's inside and the box is lifted up into the air, the audience's view of the box is... From where they're standing, they have a clear view of the front, sides, and bottom, but the back and the top are now no longer visible. At this point, the magician presses... He then escapes through this trapdoor onto the opera house roof, waits for the dummy to fall and distract the audience, and quietly returns to ground level.
That's way simpler than Paimon imagined. Even Paimon could probably do it.
Well, there's a little more to it than that, of course. There's the falling dummy, the miraculous reappearance, the pompous performing. Maybe the magician would eat many days and nights of careful research. Caesar was a highly accomplished...
So, how did it go so wrong? You said you found some fishy...
I can make a pretty good guess. I looked into the case files. The magic box Caesar was using at the time of his death had the secret button I mentioned positioned on the right-hand side.
Okay. Nothing suspicious there.
But here's the strange thing. Most of the devices in this workshop have the mechanism on the left-hand side, including this box right here, which leads me to believe that Caesar was in fact left-handed. Because a magician can't afford to have their most basic habits stand out too much. People naturally focus their attention on the most important details of the task or situation at hand. But a magician needs to be able to... the essence of magic, and so... Caesar trained himself to use his right hand to align with his audience's expectations. But in his most stressful and nerve-wracking moments, and when no one was watching, reflex would kick in and he'd use his left hand. That's why he said, exactly, I think that's likely what happened. Caesar would have been under a lot of time pressure during the escape. He'd have had mere seconds to open the hidden compartment, retrieve the dummy, then open the secret... But I'm sure he was confident. So he opened the compartment, took out the dummy. Much like when you reach for your keys but find your pocket empty, his mind needed a moment to process. Instinctively, his left hand would keep feeling around for the missing button, maybe for another... With the stakes being as high as they were, just a 2-second delay cost him everything. the authorities would find nothing suspicious and conclude.
When in reality, someone switched the boxes. But how would they be able to make the switch without being noticed?
It would have to have been someone who... Isn't that right, Lorenzo?
You just couldn't let sleeping dogs lie, could you? There's not a lot of people who'd go to all this trouble for some magician who died 10 years ago. I didn't want to have to do this, you know, but I gave you your chance.
You mean Gemma?
Yes, although... Which is why you can't leave this...
Gotcha.
Take flight!
Wind strategy. Things are about to get dicey.
Had enough yet, Lorenzo? Your cronies can't help you now. I think it's high time you started talking, and what I'd really like...
He was just an amateur who did cheap tricks for gullible children. I was the one who made magic into the...
So it was jealousy.
Jealousy. Hatred, more like. I hated Caesar. He poured everything into his street performance. But the people loved him, didn't they? Oh, how they looked up to him. Amazing. Yeah, so amazing that he was completely broke. Every other apprentice was living it up at their master's expense, but no, not me. I put in all the work, mastered all the... He forbade me from using... And with his reputation in Fontaine, it was too risky for me to go it alone. As long as he would... I had to kill.
And this was your own...
It was reason enough. What other motive would I need?
Well, I was under the impression that there might have been other factors at play. For instance, maybe you were in love with Gemma, but she was engaged to Caesar.
In love with Gemma? Don't...
Guess I was wrong about that then.
I am. Caesar was so strict with me. He insisted that his way was the right way. I never bought into any of that. I was more interested.
Oh, yeah! Charlotte told us that the weasel would steal whatever people value.
That's just how it looked from the outside. What would any thief want with... I stole cheap things as a way of practicing my craft. It was other people's overactive imaginations that conjured up the preposterous image they then dubbed the...
So, that's the story, huh? Well...
What choice do I have? You're a pack of wolves, and you've got me, but... So be it. I've enjoyed power and wealth for the last 10 years, the likes of which Caesar could never give me.
Very well. In that... Traveler, Paimon, keep an eye on Lorraine.
A blade embraces its duty, as a jeweler cherishes their gems.
has told me the whole story. Lorenzo, do you confess to the murder of
Look who's finally What kind of disciple murders their own master? I hope it was worth it. Because they'll be...
Looks like it's all over. What should we do next, Lenny? Should we...
Let's rendezvous with Lynette and Gemma first. With Lorenzo and Good
point!
Looks like no more free coffee for me.
Ah, you're back. You were so quick. I've only just finished.
Your third? Lynette, come on, we've talked about this. Everything in moderation.
It's fine. I'll shift to exercise mode and jog off the excess sugar.
That's besides the point. Well, it's done now, but...
Point taken.
Did everything go okay?
Of course! Lorenzo was no match for us. The guards are taking him into custody.
Gosh, that's amazing. I'm sorry, I still didn't know if I could trust you. I had my suspicions about Lorenzo, but I...
It's okay, we understand. But you don't need to be scared anymore.
Sorry. I always wanted to report Lorenzo. He took all of Caesar's property, which I found suspicious. I was so afraid. I was scared he'd do something. Thank you all.
Thank you all for clearing Caesar's name. I never would have guessed that Lorenzo was the real Phantom Weasel. He never showed any signs that there were problems between him and Caesar in public. From the to think that lowlife's been living life to the fullest all this time. At least his soul can finally rest in peace.
If only I'd realized before it was too late.
Don't blame yourself, Gemma. This isn't your fault.
Yeah, you still have the rest of your life to live. Caesar wouldn't want to see you spending it feeling guilty.
Cheer up, Gemma. My brother's doing a magic show at the Opera House tomorrow evening. Would you like to come along? This show will be a special one.
In Caesar's honor.
Great. We'll see you tomorrow evening. Traveler, Paimon, don't be late.
Don't worry, we'll be there. No way are we gonna miss out. Wait, Paimon feels like we're forgetting something. Oh yeah, Caesar's diary! We never found out if the two kids Caesar taught magic. Paimon's excited to see another of Linny's magic!
Not this time. My brother's going, so I'll be watching with you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The great magician Linny has prepared a spectacular show for us all.
Wow!
Thank you all so much for coming. Now, prepare to join me on a...
Exciting stuff, isn't it?
Yes, it's just... It reminds me of him.
No wonder. So, how did you
Well, I was up. Children love magic because they're willing to believe in things that can't be rationally explained. And somehow, I felt drawn.
Aw, that sounds...
It was with a flower. I was so happy.
Oh, that's so cute!
Is that right? Then I suppose he's a romantic at heart, just like Caesar. So, after all, you never know when the people dearest to you might be gone.
That's right. Paimon...
Right. Yes, you can breathe easy now, Phantom Weasel.
See? Even Lynette's the Phantom Weasel! Lorenzo escaped? Where is he?
What do you...
As Linny once said, a performer's job is to commit fully to their role. But once the bag of tricks is empty and the curtain falls, it's been 10 years, Gemma. Aren't you tired of the grieving widow act? I think it's time to put an end to it.
What are you talking about? Traveler, Paimon doesn't like where this is going. Come on, say something!
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope there will now be a brief intermission, after which Linny will perform the final performance will take place outside of the Opera House.
The Phantom Weasel never did like public places, did they? Don't worry, this place will be quiet soon.
Dear me, this is awkward, isn't it? And unfortunately, I'm all out of gadgets, so I'm afraid this is a big mistake for a magician to make.
Lenny? Don't we have more important— Lynette accused Gemma of being the real Phantom Weasel a moment ago.
All in good time. Magicians are good at guessing what people are thinking. I know the questions you—
Really? Well then, let's hear it!
Let's go back to the very beginning. A decade ago, when the Phantom Weasel was terrorizing the court of Fontaine. But as her infamy grew, so did the readiness of the police, and her opportunities to act became ever fewer. Every day, she ran the risk of being exposed for who she was. Of course, she could not simply take this lying down, and before long, she found her ticket to freedom. After weighing her options, she set her sights on a renowned magician.
So, being the master deceiver she was, the Weasel easily earned Caesar's trust. Now, all that remained was to frame him for her. But as she was considering how to make her move, she noticed Caesar's aggrieved pupil. At her encouragement, Lorenzo tampered with Caesar's magic box, causing him to fall to his death. Afterwards, Lorenzo seized his master's property, and the Weasel set about tarnishing Caesar's reputation. Two co-conspirators committed the perfect crime.
I've got to hand it to you. You're both exceptional storytellers. But I just have one question. You seem to—
Don't worry, Lorenzo said, but I never believed that he was the Weasel. And in fact, my investigation only made me more—
How disappointing. So you'd sooner trust Lorenzo than me? Even without a shred of evidence?
A magician is an expert at playing the audience to get the result they want. And with a little help from Lorenzo, you put on a very convincing performance. The lovesick fiancé, whose devotion to her betrothed Caesar was maligned and hated by all for 10 years, but you? Everyone sympathized with your plight. Who would suspect for 1 second that the lovely young lady always seen weeping in front of Caesar's grave was actually the mastermind behind his demise? No, not that poor lady. Perish the thought.
Wait, so you mean the whole intimidation thing was just a hoax? Gemma and Lorenzo were both in on it? But why would Lorenzo agree to that? And why—
Yes, why indeed? Maybe Gemma herself could enlighten us on that question.
Well, Linny, if you're so confident having killed Caesar with his own hands, Lorenzo was plagued by overwhelming guilt. Revealing the Phantom Weasel's true identity would serve no purpose. But
an excellent answer, though sadly a little dull.
Is that right? Well, don't let me bore you. If you'd care to change the topic to something more interesting, I'd be much obliged.
As a matter of fact, there's one thing I'd really like to understand. Why would the real Weasel have targeted things that only have value to other people? Could you shed any light on that?
Of course. After all, we're just telling stories here, aren't we? If I had to guess, I would say that the real Weasel must have had a terrible childhood. Left to fend for herself after her parents died young. Betrayed. She'd scrounge waste paper from garbage bins to draw on, using twigs and dirt for lack of ink and pen. She'd sew up— This was her only source of happiness in life. Once again, she was betrayed. And this time, everything was taken from her. She felt like life was a miry pit that dragged her further down the more she struggled to escape. This was a fate too cruel for anyone to bear. Her pain became a breeding ground for I detest the happiness of others. I will rob them of everything they hold to be good.
That's some—
Now does this story—
Yes, it is quite to my taste.
Huh. That's right. What? Because without that, none of this would have ever—
She didn't write the letter.
After 10 long years, I'd hoped that the Phantom Weasel would be consigned to the history books by now. But it seems like someone still wasn't ready to let her finally be at peace. Linny. Or should I call you the Phantom Copycat now? You were the one who posted that letter outside the Opera House. But why?
Very sharp, Phantom Weasel. Still as shrewd as ever. Well, no need for me to be coy about it. Our goal was to clear Caesar's name. The most straightforward way to change the public's impression of Caesar was to force the Weasel to show themselves.
That's it? You had no other agenda?
Of course we did. We made it quite clear in the letter, I believe. I shall take from you that which you hold most dear, just as you did to me 10 years ago.
10 years ago? You mean Caesar's death? You met him? Wait. Oh, I get it. You were those two obnoxious kids. It's been so long, and you're all grown up now. I didn't recognize you. He taught you magic back then, didn't he? For what, 10 days or something? And you went to all this trouble. Why? Because you feel like you still owe him something?
We remember all our debts, however great or small. 10 years ago, Caesar's reputation was torn to shreds, and his legacy was thrown out. 10 years on, and no one cares what the truth is anymore. But we did not forget, and so we came to find you.
And? What exactly did you take from me? I'm still standing, as you can see. Lorenzo has admitted to everything. I'm free.
Free? Do you really think so? Caesar once told me that even though the world is filled with lies and falsehoods, I think that applies to you too. Truth can take... Life took many things.
What are you trying to...
I'm saying that for the last 10 years, you've been living a rather uneventful life. Perhaps that's back to Lorenzo for a second. He murdered his own master, played along. He knew who you were and the things you'd done, and despite that, he was willing to give everything up for your sake. He's the reason that you haven't felt the compulsion to steal. You're more than just accomplices in murder. You're the only real friends each other has. So I think you know, deep down, that he is the only truth you have in your life. But that truth is gone now. And I guarantee you...
Congratulations on your freedom, Gemma.
Your freedom will cost you dearly. From now on, you'll be all...
Gather round, one and all. The time has now... I'm sure you're all wondering what he has planned for the grand finale.
A high-altitude escape?
I'm sure you all remember the magician Caesar. This was the very trick that we have now learned that Caesar was wrongly accused.
Guess that's my cue to leave. Traveler, Paimon, I hope you enjoy the rest of the show. There may be a lot of people watching tonight, but you alone are my true witnesses.
Lenny, wait. You two hid a lot from Caesar. He went to his grave without ever knowing your secrets. You don't have to tell lies to end up isolated and alone.
You're wrong. I'm nothing like you.
Huh.
So,
Like Lenny said, when you're ready, let's...
But what about Gemma?
She'll figure out what's best for her soon enough. Oh, and if you'd like to see Lenny after the show,
Magic should be mysterious, surprising, and defy logic. Magic is hard work. Every single movement has to be practiced thousands of times.
It's alright. We're used to that.
We're sorry. You've taught us so much, but we can't tell you the whole truth.
It's okay. Do you still remember what I told you? This world is full of lies and falsehoods. I only hope that one day, you can find your own truth.
What about you? Have you found your truth?
Magic is my truth. I want to perform a magic trick so great that people will always think of me when they talk about it. For a magician, what greater honor could there be?
Look! Behold! Linny is sealed inside the box. Will he manage to escape? 10 years ago, Caesar attempted this very trick, and it was at this precise moment that...
Watch out!
Mysterious. Surprising. And logic-defying. Isn't that right? This honor belongs to you, Caesar. I'm just sorry it's a little late.
Did you see that? 1 minute he was falling, and the next, he turned into flowers.
How could he possibly have done?
How mysterious. I didn't blink once.
What a heart-stopping magic show. This was really worth the trip. Caesar's name has finally been cleared, and Fontaine's new star magician Linny has fulfilled a wish on his behalf. Oh, I couldn't... Looks like everyone really loved Linny's grand finale. Paimon doesn't see Linny anyway. Oh, Lynette said he'd be waiting for us at the usual hunt. But, oh, you mean the one where Caesar... Yeah, that's probably it. All right, let's go look... Are you alright? Paimon was scared to death when the chain broke. Paimon was sure something had gone horribly wrong.
Magic is a performance art. A magician has to get creative to keep the audience on tenterhooks. That's our job. I was honestly a little nervous during the life. Sometimes, did he regret taking Gemma and Lorenzo?
You know,
After I joined the House of the Hearth, I told you about my past before, remember? But I quickly realized that observation alone, I needed to learn how to improve my sleight. We were gifted enough that we'd made some...
So that's why you sought Caesar out?
Yes. We figured there was no harm in asking. But in all, we only spent 10 short days together, but he was very good to us. For instance, when he asked why I wanted to learn magic, but in truth, there was already a lot more to the story by then. After being taken in by an aristocrat for our magic talent, then betrayed soon after, what amazed me was how the lie escaped my lips even as I was hesitating over whether to tell him the truth. Trust is a beautiful thing.
Linny...
Still worried about the way I feel? But don't worry, I'm used to it now. From the mansions of the elite to the House of the Hearth, lies and selfishness have followed me. After Caesar went on tour, we became busy with our missions. That night, I remembered his smile. To keep secrets is to put up walls. You only realize how much someone really meant to you.
Yeah, cheer up, Winnie. We've had to say our fair share of goodbyes, delicious food, fun toys, and the Traveler by my side. You know, Traveler, doesn't that kind of make you
Exactly. It's the same for me and Lynette. We are the truest thing. Life has taken plenty from us, like it did from Gemma. But at least it left us with each other. That's what gave us the strength to get through That's why the darkness never consumed me and why it never will. Maybe we live in the shadows too. Alright, time to lighten this conversation up a
It was amazing! Paimon just wishes we hadn't been so distracted with the Gemma situation.
Whoa, that's a bit of a tall order, I'm afraid. The show's just finished, so my sleeves are decidedly card-free right now.
Aw, come on! Surely you can think of something.
Oh, alright then. I'll give it. Watch closely. I have a flower in my hand.
You liar! There's nothing in your hand!
Huh? My goodness, you're right. But I could have sworn I brought one here with me. Okay, try this. Count down with me. 3, 2, 1.
3?
Now, have another look around. Maybe the flowers appeared somewhere else.
Really? Let's see. Wow, there it is! Oh, this is a different flower from the last time, right? But more importantly, Paimon has to know how to...
Well, if you want to learn...
Fine.
Since you asked so nicely, I'll share one little tip with you. Namely, the student of magic can...
Is that it?
Look at the time. We shouldn't linger here too long. Thanks again for coming to see my show. I bid you both good... I look forward to see...
Shall we head back now, too? Oh, Paimon can't wait to read the Steambird tomorrow. Paimon bets... Let's head to the Steambird's offices tomorrow morning and see what we can find out.
I'm very sorry, Charlotte, but my sister and I are quite...
Oh, please, Linny, I'll only take a moment of your time.
Huh? What's happening here?
I spent all night writing my piece about the Phantom Weasel, and I was going to go to print this but just as dawn broke, I suddenly received news that Caesar's fiancée, Gemma, had contacted the...
That was quick.
Too late, bro. That was quick, you say? It sounds like I've got some catching... Aha! My instincts did not lead me astray. You do have something to...
Maybe watching my high-altitude escape trick reminded her of a better time with Caesar, and she could no longer ignore the voice of her conscience.
Huh. Okay, then. Wait, no, there must be more... Oh, I remember now! You and Gemma were nowhere to be found after... Quickfire question! Where did you all go after...
Oh, we went to the cemetery and Linny did a private... Actually, glad you mentioned it, because that reminds Paimon. Guess what? Linny started using rainbow roses in his tricks!
What? I don't recall ever having received a rainbow rose from you myself. Is this supposed to mean that they're more important to you than your...
No, I just...
What the... What...
Seems like this interview wasn't meant to be. Well, Forgive my persistence, but when there's explosive news waiting to be found, I can't turn away. Apparently, one of the things she said to the guards was that her final wish is to see Lorenzo one last time. All right, I guess I'll leave you to continue the rest of your conversation.
Lynette?
Don't worry, I wasn't angry.
Oh, really?
Phew. You and me both, Paimon. You and me both.
Please, take good care of that rainbow rose. I'd be really upset if you lost it.
Add at
There'll be an extra fee for that.
Next time? Yeah!
Time to go.